Hello and welcome to another episode of Evolved by Erica, the podcast. I'm Erica Polsinelli, your host, and I'm so excited that you're here to talk about all things spirituality, Kundalini, high vibe, 5D, changing our lives, being empowered beings. Hell yes. Welcome and come on in. So today we are here for episode 13 of the podcast. And we are going to be talking about what is fear versus your intuition. Wow, this is a question that I was really on the quest for so long to figure out. And it's something so many people ask me. So I thought, what better way to address it than through a podcast? So today I wanted to talk first, just giving a shout out and highlighting the soul sessions that I do through evolvedbyerica.com. So I offer one-on-one soul sessions that consist of a little bit of talk, a little bit of coaching, and meditations that are specifically prescribed to you and what you're going through. So through our soul sessions, these are one-on-one sessions through Zoom. We meet, I hear what has guided you to this practice. If you have a morning practice at all, if you're completely new to it, and if you're new, don't be scared. Those are usually my most exciting ones because I love introducing people to this practice and making it so approachable and achievable for you. And after we talk and I get to know what you're experiencing, what it is your intention is, what you're guided to bring into your life or release, I create a very personalized practice for you. So I put together some movements, meditations, and exercises that will help you specifically with whatever it is you're going through. And that's what I love a lot about Kundalini. There's a meditation, a medical meditation, a manifesting meditation for anything under the sun, anything you could possibly need. So if you're interested in getting a soul session with me, you can visit evolvedbyerica.com and you can go to shop, and on there you could scroll down and see the option for soul sessions. I would love to meet with you one-on-one, help you through this journey. And it's just a passion of mine. I love connecting with you guys and seeing, who it is behind the screen on Instagram or even through the podcast. So it's a wonderful way to either jumpstart your healing journey, your meditation journey, or even going a little bit deeper into it. So you can visit there at evolvedbyerica.com, click on shop, and you can schedule and book a soul session. So welcome to episode 13, where we are going to be talking about intuition versus ego and fear. So there are different vibrations on the planet, and there's actually a scale that's measured in hertz of energy that tells you whatever it is you're feeling and what that vibrational frequency is. So fear is one frequency and love is another. They're at opposite ends of the spectrum. Fear is very low on the spectrum, and love vibrates at 528 hertz. So when we're vibrating, when we're more in a state of fear, we are vibrating at a very low, heavy, slower frequency. When we're in the space of love, we're vibrating quickly and at a higher frequency, which feels a lot heavier in the body. Those high frequencies move through the body, move through the cells in a really blissful way. And when we experience those lower frequencies, it's slow moving. Sometimes it could even get trapped or stored in the chakras. And when we're in a state of fear, it's very hard to listen to our intuition. It is. It's very challenging. And a lot of people come to me and tell me, well, Erica, how do you figure out whether that voice in your head is fear or whether it's actually your intuition? And it's taken me a very long time to figure it out. And I feel like it's still something that I'm always going to learn. I see your intuition as like this muscle that is constantly being strengthened through Kundalini and through the practices that we have. And there are specific meditations for intuition that we have that you could find on the Evolve exclusive. So by practicing Kundalini in general, looking in and up to your third eye point every time you meditate, and by practicing these very specific Kundalini practices for intuition. That's one way to strengthen your intuition. Few other ways to strengthen your intuition is to eat clean, eating whole foods, eating a lot of organic vegetables and fruits, because this can help to decalcify the pineal gland, which is in charge of developing, enhancing, and growing our intuition, strengthening that intuition. Making sure that we're not exposing ourselves to a lot of chemicals. So keeping a really clean environment in our home, around us, and even on our skin, in our body. It's really powerful in helping to further develop our intuition. And as I said before, meditation. So meditation, eating clean, using healthy, clean products, all ways to decalcify the pineal gland, activate our intuition, listening to that inner guidance and inner voice. But at sometimes fear creeps in. So when you hear something that scares you and feels really out of alignment with who you are, that really most likely is a thought of fear. And I have to tell you, some things that our intuition might tell us could scare us too. But as we go deeper on this journey, less scares us, because we know this is part of our divine path. And we know that whatever it is that may be coming forth, or we may be experiencing right now, or something we have to face, is for a reason. And it's to really guide us to our highest life path when we're on this journey of Kundalini and high vibrational frequency and healing. So when we feel something that really doesn't feel right, and it makes us really nervous, it quickens our heart rate, it makes maybe our palms sweaty, that is most likely a thought of fear rather than intuition. Intuition and divine messages come from source energy. And source is light. Source is a love frequency. Source is a really high vibrational space to be connected to. So when you receive it, it usually is pretty clear. I call it a hit or a download, and you receive a message. So the message could be about anything. It could be about something you should stop doing. It could be something you start doing. And after you receive that message, it is also typical of receiving that same message through other experiences or realms. So maybe you receive, this is going to be so random, but maybe in my meditation, I receive like, oh, quinoa isn't good for me. I don't know, just random. Quinoa is not good for me. And then I think to myself, like, ooh, that was weird that I just got that thought, but okay, most likely for a reason. And then maybe like next time I eat quinoa and I'm like, yeah, I heard that, but like, who knows? Like maybe that was just a random thought. And then all of a sudden, something else might be brought into your awareness. Someone else saying that, oh, quinoa upsets their stomach, or it's not good for them, or whatever other experience comes forth and affirms what you've already heard. So I want to tell you, and I've told you this so many times, probably in a lot of episodes, nothing is a coincidence. And the universe, the other realms are connecting with you in a lot of ways. And you just have to be open and willing to receive those messages and remind yourself that nothing is a coincidence, and that you're experiencing something or receiving different messages or experiences for a reason. So our ego is something else that often clouds our intuition. Our ego is our thoughts that are there to protect us. And the body, the ego, doesn't want to change. It doesn't necessarily want to grow. It wants to be safe and it wants to be comfortable. And everything that we know right now is comfortable to us. Waking up at 4 a.m. and taking an ice cold shower, woo, that will really trigger the ego. There will be a million reasons why the ego says that's not a good idea. It's uncomfortable, it's different, it's something we're not used to, and it's literally going to bring discomfort to the body. So our ego at times can be very tricky. And at times we could feel that it's hard to differentiate the difference between the ego, the thought that we're receiving, versus our higher intuition. And something that really helps with this is Ego Eradicator. So if you're a Evolve exclusive member, you know Ego Eradicator very well. We practice it all the time. So for those of you that don't, you make a really tight fist, you extend both your thumbs, you bring your arms up into a V, a high V over your head, and you begin a breath of fire. Unless you're pregnant, then it's long, deep breathing. But a breath of fire is a really powerful and rapid breath in and out through the nose. It sounds like this. So what this exercise really helps us to do is combat the ego, because it helps to release addiction. And addiction could be, yes, addiction to substances, addiction to anything like that. But it can also be an addiction to a way of thinking, an addiction to a thought, an addiction to feeling or needing to feel and experience stress. So by doing that practice for only 3 minutes every morning, you can literally reverse anything that's bringing you to that place of being comfortable and that place of playing it safe, bringing you out of that into the unknown, into welcoming and challenge. And I always say this in our meditations, we're there on the mat to get uncomfortable so that we can figure out in life how to get more comfortable in those uncomfortable moments outside of our meditation. Ego Eradicator is a powerful breath work. It's an uncomfortable posture. It requires so much physical strength. And you start little by little. Start with 30 seconds, bump it up to 1 minute, bump it up to 2 minutes, whatever you may be guided to do. But it really helps us to fire those neurons into a more positive outlet, creating more positive neuron connections rather than having those same old thoughts and repeated patterns. And it's really interesting because I think about 90%, the percentages, I think it's 90, maybe even higher than 90% of our thoughts every day are recycled thoughts. So they're thoughts that we've been thinking and experiencing for years and for years. And until we stop and zap them and zap ourselves into a more positive thought or positive frequency, we're just recreating our past over and over and over again. If we hold the same thoughts from the past and we hold them in the present, that's what we're projecting in our future. Anything that we're holding and experiencing in this now moment is what's creating our future. So being able to use Ego Eradicator or even the addiction meditation, which is a breath express on Evolve, we're able to reframe our thoughts and bring it more into a positive space. So why is that important with our intuition? When we do that, we are just burning up those fearful thoughts. We're literally taking them, if you could picture all of these dots of fear in your brain, and like literally taking them by the hand and bringing them over to the side of light. Like, no, you come with me. You're tired of thinking all of these negative, low vibrational thoughts. You come with me and I'm going to bring you here. And now you're going to be capable of thinking more positively about this relationship or more positively about this experience you had. And that's how we create these new neural pathways, which is so important. And by doing that, we are less likely to go into a state of fear and more available to listen to our intuition. We're less likely to be in a state of fight or flight, and fright. That fits right in. And we're more able to be in this space of peace, of knowing that we're protected, knowing that we're divinely guided. So I want to give you a few tips of how to activate your intuition. I already shared with you cleaning up the diet, eating whole foods, doing Kundalini meditations, doing the meditation specific for intuition, doing Ego Eradicator or the addiction meditations are also great. But I also want you to allow yourself to communicate with the universe, allow yourself to communicate with your guides, your angels, and let them know you are ready to receive divine information. You are ready to start listening to your intuition. And I have a really wild experience to share. So when I was really getting deep into this practice, it was still the beginning, but it was the beginning of like really diving deeper into Kundalini. I was sitting on the floor in my old apartment doing a meditation, and all of a sudden, this might sound so wild, but all of a sudden, my body turned into a pendulum. So no, did I turn into like a steel little ball rocking back and forth? No, I was still my physical self, but my body began to sway forward and back involuntarily as I was meditating. This feeling was so profound. I knew I wasn't doing it. I knew it was a higher source doing this. And I immediately started crying because I unlocked something within me that I never had access to before. I unlocked my intuition. I unlocked this divine energy that lives within me. And what I now know it to be is I activated the Kundalini energy to flow through the chakras, which flows in a spiral. And you can imagine it spiraling up, causing me to rock back and forth as it spiraled. With that, knowing that, I was able to use this to find divine information and answers. So I was able to ask a question, and my body would rock forward and back for yes, and then side to side for no. And this was really powerful in understanding how we have access to source energy. We have access to something so much greater than ourselves and what we know. So I want you just to find yourself for a moment sitting quietly with your eyes closed. And if you're driving, you're not going to do this right now. You could save it for another time. If you're walking, save it for another time. Or maybe if you're walking on the beach or a place where you could just stand firmly and ground yourself, you could do that. I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to tell the universe right now that you are open to receiving more divine information, more of the connection to your intuition and divine source. Allow the universe to know that you are aware nothing is a coincidence, and you are ready to receive messages. You're ready to receive divine downloads. You're ready to receive divine guidance. And with that, I want you to tell the universe that yes in your body feels like swaying forward and back, or maybe it just feels like a nod up and down for yes. And then no feels like a rock from side to side, or maybe a shift of the head or chin side to side for no. And maybe the reverse feels better in your body. I once saw a healer who taught it in reverse. This is what came to me. This is what feels authentic to me. I always encourage you to find what feels good and authentic to you. So with that, you could take a moment to play around with this. Ask the universe a question, a yes or no question, of course, and see what direction your body's inclined to go. Is it forward and back? Or is it side to side? And go ahead and just take a moment for that. And maybe you ask a second question. Maybe you ask something that's been on your mind for a while. And when you're ready, just thank the universe for this relationship you're building. Thank yourself, thank your higher self, your intuition for all the wisdom that you have access to in your soul. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come back. And through just doing that exercise and tuning into that, if you don't know what decision to make, just by asking, it will become clear, because you're going to wish, subconsciously, you're going to wish for your body to pull you one way or another. And that's going to reveal your answer to you. That's going to reveal your truth to you. Or it can also trigger the ego a little bit. You might want the universe to pull you towards what you want to hear, but it may pull you the opposite way. So by practicing Kundalini, you know that you gain that awareness over yourself. You start to understand that sometimes we hope for something that we know isn't aligned to ourselves, and you'll be able to recognize that and call yourself out on that. So tuning into our intuition is something we need to practice. It's something that we need to work on every single day. And by breathing, by looking in and up towards the third eye point, that activates the intuition. By eating right, by talking to the universe, asking for signs, these are all ways that we can access it. And it can come, intuitive downloads can come in your meditation. They could come through numbers. You might see a repeating number all the time, be able to look it up and see that you found your answer to anything that you were worried about or thinking about. It may come through a conversation with another person. It may show up as an ad or a post on Instagram. It can come all different ways. So just allowing the universe to know that you're open, you're ready to receive, will be your first steps in really helping to activate that. And fear, as I said before, is a lower frequency that you could feel very easily in your body. And when we can shift from fear into love, we can really sift out our intuition as well. So if we have this thought of fear, taking a moment to flip it and trying to see that experience or whatever it may be through love or choosing love, seeing how that feels in the body can start to reveal to you your truth and that intuitive hit. So I hope that helps. If you have any other questions, you could always reach out to me. Intuition is just a really huge, amazing part of this journey. I think there's so much more to it than we actually know. I believe that it could really help us telepathically communicate with each other, because I know I could do that with other people. And it can help us just have these telepathic psychic abilities. And it's super, super powerful. So I hope you enjoy this. If you have any other questions, of course, reach out to me. But I will see you next time. May the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.